I'm 33 years old. I've never been in a relationship, never had a girlfriend, and it doesn't bother me because, for the most part, that path was predetermined for me. I've never had the drive to pursue someone out of genuine need for connection, out of genuine desire to be with someone. I've never felt lonely. Could be hormonal, could be my brain just doesn't work. And I used to think that everyone was like me, that everyone was okay with being alone. And people who complain about loneliness were just exaggerating for attention, but apparently not. I've come to realize that during my streams and having people tell me how much it hurts to be lonely, that it's a real thing. And they were intrigued by my condition and how I was happy and chill just being by myself, staying single my whole life and not really needing a whole lot of excitement to feel contentment, which is why I'm making this video. To give you a different perspective, to share a positive message, because I'm still here. I'm not depressed, I'm doing fine. And I don't blame anyone for my condition. I don't hold any grudges against society or against women. It is what it is, because being by yourself is not the end of the world. Checking out of dating and relationships is nothing special nowadays. More and more men and women are completely checking out every single day. But I've been checked out from the start, before it was trendy. And you can call me out for coping. Like, dudes who genuinely don't care, don't make videos or 6-hour streams on it. And I'm well aware that you young kids nowadays live on nightmare difficulty, and that if I was 20-something today and tried dating or online dating, I would get ghosted and roasted or worse. But I was lucky enough to experience life before social media, when you could approach someone on a pen pal site even and send each other long essays and the other person would always respond, which is impossible nowadays. When you're competing with the entire planet with models and multi-billionaires and bots and 3 billion simps. But I've had some really good experiences, which is probably why I'm not sour graping. Women have been more than generous with me, giving me plenty of opportunities, but I always manage to mess things up. I've tried, I've pursued, but my heart just wasn't in it. I wasn't pursuing with the intention to actually form a bond and build a relationship. I just wanted to see if I could get it. And once I saw that I could get it, I just lost all interest. I was satisfied with the pursuit of possibility. Once I got a foot in the door, I could just imagine the rest and was completely satisfied with the fantasy. Now, this is not a humble brag video. It's not to upset you, because I know a lot of guys will get mad watching this like, bro, I never had a chance. You don't know what it's like. It never began for me either, because my brain doesn't work. And I have a detailed video on that, but it doesn't cause me suffering. I'm fine with just knowing that I can get it. I mean, if I became disfigured in an accident, that would I would suddenly start feeling the pain of the door of opportunities being locked forever. Even the fantasies would become unreachable, and that's my main defect. The pain wouldn't come from a genuine place of, now I can't find my soulmate, now I'll never be able to start a family. It would be an ego thing. It would hurt my ego, because then even the hypothetical option to not be alone would evaporate on a fundamental level. I would be denied the fantasy. Patrice O'Neal, who's a legendary comedian and an absolute genius when it comes to the ego and relationship thing, explained it very simply when he said, men want to be alone, but not by ourselves. And I would expand that to, men are okay with being alone as long as that's still an option. As long as it's not a life sentence. But not doing anything with that option is the main problem here. Now, you could call it cowardice, you could call it Peter Pan syndrome, the result of being overcoddled and underexposed to adversity in childhood that made me so risk averse that I was just unattractive as a kid and developed thick skin and learned to cope until not caring became a genuine internalized state. But I did have girls like me as a kid and all throughout life, and still did nothing about it. I've been accused of being a psychopath. I've been accused of being gay. Women have tried to make me jealous by holding some other dude over me. Like, you better make a move or this other guy will take me. Or just plain hallucinating some other dude just to extract a reaction out of me. They would get really upset when I didn't make a move because I was always just so content with the fantasy and the fantasy alone. Because the fantasy allows me total control with zero risk, with zero emotional investment, with zero disappointment, I realized that I didn't really like the person for who they were. I liked the idea of them, my idea of them, spiritually taxidermied and locked in a metaphorical display case so I could have something nice to look at every once in a while. But once the real person would start getting close, I would start retreating because I didn't want to hurt them. Because while there might be nothing inside, while I might be hollow on the inside and unable to connect with others because my brain's damaged, I'm not a monster. I would never put someone through the pain of being with me, because the one thing that's worse than being alone and lonely is being with someone who makes you feel lonely. And I refuse to be that someone. I refuse to hurt another human being. I still have a soul. The thought of them withering away like a lonely bird in the cage of our relationship, I could never do that. So I'd run away. I would quarantine myself to reduce the risk of someone liking me, and ironically enough, that only ever seems to attract exactly the type of person who would be hurt the most by someone like me. And it's happened many times in the past. There's no dramatic story that I can share with you because I never got close enough to anyone. Again, I'm not complaining about my situation. I've made my peace with it a long time ago. Like I said, I don't hold grudges. I'm not flexing with the fact that I've never felt lonely. It's just the only thing that I have that's kind of a superpower. I have that and my time. No talents, no skills, just time and a unique perspective. And I'm trying to work with what I have to provide some kind of value to you guys. To de-stress you, to give you a different option to think about life as someone who lives it by themselves. That it's not the end of the world. It's not over. Hopefully some of that unfazedness rubs off on you, because not all of us are meant to experience attachment. But you can learn to detach and observe, and sometimes that's better than the real thing itself. Maybe you have someone in your life who's like me, someone who shies away from connection, and you're wondering why. Maybe they were hurt in the past, or maybe they were just born that way, but if they've been single, or mostly single their whole life, there's probably a really good reason why that is. Share your story in the comments if you're looking for answers, because there's always someone watching. We have a pretty supportive community, and hopefully you'll get your answer, or you'll get closure. Maybe you'll even start making your own videos. It's not that scary once you stop taking yourself so seriously. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, post your story, check out my live streams. I've made it a goal to stream every weekend now, starting at 6 p.m. East Coast time or midnight Central European time. And these are pretty long streams, so you won't miss me. And yeah, take care, stay healthy, and see you soon.